Hey there, Sharon Horne-Ellstrom here, but you can call me Pajama Grandma. Today is day 21. 21. Can't even count today. It's because I am sipping my cold removing emergency this morning. I need to get rid of that yuckiness. I've been putting up with it for 2 weeks, and I'm saying, out of here, it's time to be done. Sneak another sip. We're going to talk about getting things off of your plate. Getting things off of your plate is all about delegating. Now, we've looked at our process. We're looking at one process right now, the process that needs to be fixed the most in order to supersize our business. For me, I'm using the example of attracting and bringing more customers to my business by using content. Then we looked at how do we optimize that. We wrote down what are we doing now? How does that process work for us right now in our business? Then we wrote down and we looked at that process. We looked at what we wrote down and we said, how do we optimize this process? What's missing? What do we need to do to get rid of redundancies and make it a more efficient process? Or what pieces do we need to add because we're just not doing them? Then yesterday we looked at automating that process. Are there steps in that process that we can automate? Today we're going to look at that same process and we're going to say, are there things that I can delegate about this particular task or process? I don't know about you, but in the past and present, I still do it. I am very guilty of working in my business instead of on my business. And I always have a good excuse or a good reason for doing it. Usually involves the fast, efficient, easiest way of doing it. And I always think, or first initially, I always think that I am the best person to do that. And then I discover I am so not. I think of all the hours I spent standing in frozen food department of grocery stores, cutting up samples and handing out samples of my manufacturing product. It was just mind-boggling that I thought that that was a good idea at the time. And there are so many things like that in our businesses, especially as business owners, that we think we have to do ourselves, and we absolutely positively do not. So today, we're going to look at the process that we've been analyzing, and we're going to say, am I actually the best person to do this job? And it isn't even, am I the best person? Am I the person that should be doing this job? Am I the only person that can do this job or this task? It's usually a task. We're looking at a process, so we're looking at a particular process step, for example, that maybe I'm not the best person to do. Maybe I barely can figure out how to do it, and I guarantee there's someone else on the planet better at doing it than I am. So I want to look at those possibilities after I ask myself that question, and I'm really honest because I get my ego out of the way. Who is the best person to do this? Who else could do this? Who else should I get to do this? Sorry about that. I haven't had the alarm go off for a while. And then I start looking at making that happen. So today I will be looking at, and I'll be honest, let's look at my example of creating content to attract new customers to me and to my business. Well, I am the best person to create the content. I got to make my own videos, and I'm cool with that because I love doing it. Now I love doing it. I didn't used to. But beyond that, all the things that have to be done with those videos, say maybe editing, which I never do because I don't know how to do it, that needs to be delegated. Somebody else needs to do that for me because I'm never going to do it. I'm just going to put my videos up the way they are because I don't want to take the time away from my other business activities to try to figure out or learn how to edit videos. All the other things that need to happen to handle that content, to disseminate that content, to spread that content out on social media, to turn it into blog posts and sayings and memes and things. I don't need to do all that myself. Somebody else can do that for me. And there's many, 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 many people that are much more qualified to do that for me than I am. So we want to look at our action step for today is to look at the process we're working on and ask ourselves, if you're still doing it, or even if you're not doing it, ask yourself, is the person that's assigned to doing this, is the person doing this right now because it's already delegated? Because you might be looking at a process that actually is in your company, but other people actually do it, then it's really already delegated. It's off your plate. But ask yourself, is the person who's doing it the right person to do it? Because sometimes as we're growing our businesses, we have department heads that we hire first, and maybe there's a department head or there's a function in your business that you really need to add another resource to because the person that's doing those tasks, just like you, is being underutilized. We never want to underutilize our human resources especially. And that is probably one of the most overlooked things in supersizing and growing our businesses. If you don't know that absolutely everyone on your team is awesome and they are your most valuable resource, that is something that needs to change ASAP. And direct message me because I can help you with that. But if you don't know that, or if you have the wrong people, that's one of the first things you need to fix. Or if you have the right people, they're awesome people, but they're in the wrong positions. Just like if you're doing the wrong thing, you don't want your people to be focusing and doing the wrong thing based on their skill set, their genius zone, what they're really good at, and what they could bring to your organization. Underutilization of resources is one of the number one losses and the reasons that we don't supersize our business. Beyond the owner's ego, that's the really number one. Scary, right? So today, delegation. What is something that you can get off your plate by delegating? Get it off your plate, delegate. I like rhyming things. That's it. Go out, have a fantastic day. Your action step again, find one thing in your process that you're analyzing that either you can delegate and get off your plate or get off someone else's plate because it's not using them to the best of their abilities. Have a fantastic day. We'll see you tomorrow with day 22 of Supersize Your Business Challenge.